Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Our topic this morning, life in balance. Whether it is the intern, right up to the exec committee, everyone seems to have trouble with balancing life. When we talk about balance, in physics, it would be a system where all the parts work together harmoniously. So there's no one part taking the brunt of life. So all work together towards a particular direction. That means less friction, less resistance. The opposite of that, a system out of balance, is when one of the parts is taking the brunt of it, and then, have you heard the phrase, the strength of a chain is its weakest link. So you have strong metal links right through the chain, except one paper link. That's where it breaks. And today we want to examine perhaps where is our weak link and how can we strengthen that to bring in balance into life. So one way of looking at it, what a balanced life looks like, is, I put it as a triangle diagram, 3 aspects: physical, mental, intellectual. So we can do a check on ourselves and find out, is our system in balance? Are all the parts working harmoniously? Or are we pulling our capacity too much in one area, not enough in the other areas? So the first one is physical. And physical, we're not talking about being Miss Universe, Mr. Universe, muscles bulging, but does your body function for you? When you wake up in the morning, do you feel energized? I grew up listening to East Coast radio. And Monday morning, it would be as if everyone's going to a funeral. And the disc jockey will be, oh, it's the Monday blues. Hang in there, people. We'll get through it. Don't worry. And I'm trying to think, what is wrong with Mondays? And Tuesday, oh, we survived one day, a few more days, come on together, we'll get through it. And as the week progresses, you can see there's more and more excitement until it comes to Friday, ecstasy. You've heard of the phrase TGIF? What does it stand for?
Thank God it's Friday.
We would like to change. 1 hour is optimistic. TGIF to TGIM. Thank God it's Monday. Imagine you wake up and you be like, okay, let's do this. Let's go for it. Well, hang on. You've decided to come to work, dedicating about 60% of your adult life to work. Why choose drudgery? Why choose monotony? Is it possible to relate to work differently that you could look forward to it? And if we could just ask this question of ourselves and to our team members, just starting with this question, how can we make work something we look forward to? And the signs are you healthy? Do you have vitality? Or when you wake up in the morning, espresso 1, espresso 2, espresso 3, hello, okay, I'm ready for the world. Mental level. What is the range of your emotions? Are they stable? Is there an equilibrium? Or does it peak and then it drops and then peaks again? How can we reduce that fluctuation? And we're going to get into this topic. The other aspect is, if you look at it, in life, we actually only have a handful, maybe 2 hands full, of relationships to maintain. What is the quality of those relationships that you have chosen with the spouse, children, parents? The relationships that you've decided to maintain, what is the quality? What effort are you putting in to improve the quality of the relationships? And the third aspect is intellectual. How long does it take you to make a decision? Is there clarity? I was fortunate to be introduced straight after matric to this subject, this philosophy. And because of this training, the analysis to get married was a half an hour pen and paper analysis. Because I knew what I wanted from life. I also had a great knowledge of the other person, having studied together for 3 years. Half an hour, paper and pen analysis. This aligns to the goal that I want. This is what I'm looking for in marriage. This is, from the conversations we've had, what I think the other person is looking from me that I can provide. 17 years down the line, it's going okay. Clarity. And that's what we want, and that's what we're capable of as a human being. So today we want to talk about 2 aspects. First is life, and then second, what puts us in balance in life, what unbalances us. Okay? We have a short time together. Unfortunately, we have a flight to catch, so we'll be leaving abruptly at 10, sorry. But I'm going to give you a lot of content. Okay? You all right with that? Let's start. The beauty of this subject, it's called Vedanta. It's just a manual for life. What it says is, start asking the basic questions. So we'll start. What is life, anybody? Who would like to take a swing at defining it? What is life? How would you define it?
It's an accumulation of experiences from the time you're born until you pass on.
Great definition. The beauty of a definition is it must be true for all. So can we all agree? Life starts at birth, ends at death, and this interim between birth and death is filled with experiences. Experience after experience after experience, maybe experience of breakfast before this session, then this session, then the experience of the rest of the agenda. So an experience is a unit of life. As your experiences, as the units, so your life. So if you want to have happy life, you need happy experiences. What did you say, Vinith? Happy. Contributory factor, yes. This is what you tell your spouse. If you want a happy life. If there are sad experiences, sad life. Mixed experiences, mixed life. So any person who goes about life methodically, scientifically would say, if I want a happy life, I need to improve the quality of my experiences. Now, what is an experience made up of? Our perceptions. Yes. There are 2 factors. Let's put it up on the screen. The first factor is you. You are the common factor in all your experiences. The other is the world. If you're eating a meal, it's you contacting a meal. And as per the contact, so the experience. Now you are listening to a session. All right? So you are the listener, I'm the object, the speaker. Depending on this connection, so the experience. So how the subject meets the object will determine the experience, and the experience will determine the life. Now, 2 sets of thinkers said, okay, if we want to improve life, we've got to improve the experiences. If we want to improve the experiences, we've got to improve the constituent ingredients, subject and object. Most of our effort, everybody here, and perhaps even the kind of initiatives that we are launching, is about improving the world. Nicer amenities, facilities, access. Even when we look at improving ourselves, it's the things around us. So we try to improve the world would you say improvement of the world has led to more happiness? Does a more advanced phone make you happier? It doesn't. Yet, what are we doing? And where is all our effort directed towards? It's interesting. The more developed a nation, the higher its GDP, you find more problems. Higher divorce rate, higher depression rates. We frequent Switzerland often. They have a high depression rate amongst the youth. Highly functioning democracy. Beautiful amenities, facilities, natural beauty abound. What is wrong? There is nothing wrong with improving the world. We need to improve the world. But improvement of the world is not responsible alone for the experience. We have neglected the individual you. Now, you as talent, we need to get back to focusing on the individual. Because if the individual is developed, what a life. Because the individual has the ability to decide how to contact the world to make every experience positive, to make a positive life. Something like this. What's your favorite food?
I don't know. I'm vegan. It's hard. Vegetables.
I'm also vegan.
Lentil soup.
Lentil soup. Okay, yourself? Pizza. Imagine all your favorite foods spread out on a table. Okay? Hot, hot. From your favorite restaurants around the country, around the world. All spread out. One problem. You've got indigestion. This is what's happening in life. Everything around is fine. But we don't have the appetite to enjoy life. Now, if you work on the individual, here's the converse. If you work on yourself, if you're hungry, if you've got an appetite for life, you can enjoy just plain sourdough toast with vegan butter. If you're hungry. So if you're hungry, you would relate to anything. There's a saying by William Cowper. He says, they whom truth and wisdom lead. If you've invested in your personality, they whom truth and wisdom lead can gather honey from a weed. You know the technique, from a weed you can get honey. Now we've got a honey pot, we're not able to extract the honey. This subject is about developing you so you can contact the world better, more beautifully. So, the next question is, what makes up you, the individual? There are 3 equipments. Anyone wants to take a guess? What are the 3 equipments?
Your body,
Mm-hmm. Yes? 2 others? Mm-hmm. Mind? Have you heard of BMI? What does it stand for? Wrong one. Body, mind, and intellect. Body mass index. So this is it. All our focus is on outside. Body mass index. I met a friend recently. He's got his arm full of tattoos. I said, what happens? I saw somebody's name there. I said, whose name is that? Girlfriend's name. I said, what if you change? You're going to cross it off? I said, why don't you put something more permanent? Body, mind, intellect. This is the beginning and the end of clarity of thinking. This is the beginning and end of the spiritual path as well. It is one diagram for everything. It seems so simple. And it is. Our body is just a vehicle. It moves us from experience to experience. What we're interested in, who's driving that body? And there are 2 drivers in the personality. One is the mind, and the one is the intellect. Now, just for this session, keep aside perhaps what you've studied in psychology or from different authors. You can call it A and B. There are two types of thoughts. The mind is made up of feelings, emotions. If I ask you, what's your favorite color?
Light blue.
Light blue. Yours? Pink?
Dark blue.
Light blue, dark blue, pink, different colors. Why? Why lentil soup? It's a preference. And if I ask you why light blue, don't ask me to write a thesis on it. I just like it. This is the mind. So the mind is full of preferences, emotions, feelings, impulses, joy, sorrow, envy, hatred. This is all mind. So it's the part of you which just flows. It's the non-thinking part, it's the feeling part. The other aspect of our personality is the intellect. Now the intellect has the ability to pause. It doesn't flow. It takes a step back. It is the awareing factor in us. When we become aware of what we're doing, thinking, feeling. And it weighs up the pros, it weighs up the cons, comes to a conclusion, and then act. So the ability to think, reason, judge, decide is that of the intellect. So when there's a situation, do we react with the mind, or is there that pause where we filter and function through the intellect? What are we using, mind or intellect? This morning, coming through Johannesburg traffic, I saw a lot of mind. People are muscling in, and I'm thinking, just let the guy go, you know. You save 5 minutes for everybody. What do you think we're using in life? Mind or intellect?
Mostly mind.
How did you choose what subject to study? Mind or intellect? How did you choose your partner? Mind or intellect?
Mind. Definitely.
Now we say, I definitely did not use my intellect.
Yes.
Both is good. So the beauty about using the intellect is a human being is both a feeling and a thinking being. So it's not that we negate the mind. It's not that we tell the mind, no feelings. Don't do what you like. I'm not saying that. It's saying run it through the filter of the intellect, because the mind's default setting is instant gratification. How do I get pleasure now? So it doesn't think about tomorrow. It doesn't think about consequences, because that's not its job. The mind is like the child in the personality. The intellect is the adult. And the intellect's job is not just suppress the mind. It's like trying to suppress a child. Sit, don't move. No. It's to guide it. No regrets, but moving in the direction that we want. Every choice we make, it's coming up, mind or intellect. To have dessert or not to have dessert. To take a call or not to take a call. Sometimes when you're in a meeting, suddenly a thought comes up, I forgot to message someone. To send the message or not to send the message. This is mind and intellect. It is the mind that unbalances us, causes all the stress in life. Do we have an intellect that is strong enough to manage this mind? What's stopping us from being what we would like to be, from being self-disciplined, self-managed? It's not other people. It's not our work portfolio. It's not our family. Our mind is stronger than our intellect. One of the things I'm going to suggest is wake up earlier and put some intellect time into your day, just half an hour. Right? And you might get inspired after the session. You say, I'm going to try it. So I'm not sure what time you wake up. Let's say you say, okay, I'm setting the alarm 45 minutes early. What happens in the morning? Oh, you're familiar with it. Huh? It goes snooze. Snooze. And having lived in a hostel with students, One student genuinely wants to wake up early in the morning. For 2 hours, that snooze button is going off every 5 minutes. Wait, hang on. Who decided to wake up? You decided. You're not able to execute what you would like to do. Why? Because in the morning, when that alarm goes off, the mind goes, sleep is very useful for health. And you didn't have a proper sleep. And, if you're rested, you'll have a better... The mind starts playing with you. You decided. If the intellect is strong enough, I've set the alarm, I'm waking up. First time. This is it. Have a look at this diagram where we see what is the proportion of intellect and mind. So if you have 100% intellect, all your decisions are thought about, it's taking the feelings into account when deciding, but you think about what is best, what am I looking for in life. 100% of all those choices, you're just sane. Not Superman, Superwoman. You're sane. Why? Because that is the design of a human being. An animal does not have an intellect. If an animal sees an attractive mate going by, it has to act on the impulse. If we see an attractive person going by, we should check. Some people are not able because the mind is stronger than the intellect. As the intellect drops, 75-25, we get emotional. The mind takes over. And when that mind takes over, we don't know what we're saying. We don't know what we're choosing. We cause so much of hurt because there's no intellect there. 50-50, you don't know what you're going to get. Eccentric. Who's going to be showing up? And as the mind starts taking over, 75-25, hysterical. Definition of insanity? No intellect. You don't know who you are, what you're doing, consequences. It's like when a person is intoxicated, there's no intellect. Insane. Where do you think humanity is? Broadly speaking. A, B, C, D, or E? B? C? See, I don't know, but I've asked this question in different parts of the world. The consensus is between B and C. But you know what that means? That means 30-40% of our personality is not being optimized. Now you know, as EY, people would pay you for 3%, 4% optimization. We're talking about a potential 30-40% optimization in each one of our own personality. What human potential talent is that? Let me put it another way. The danger of the mind, because you might say, Sudhakar, can we have a break now and then? Can we just let the mind go free? Just for a little bit? 5% of the time? No. And this is it. Suppose you decide, as a group, let's do a retreat at the Drakensberg. We go up to the Drakensberg, and we get there, and we say, look, we need to get back. Right? So we managed to get the bus there, but we need a driver to take us back to Joburg. And we're looking for a driver, not able to find a driver, and I suggest a driver. I said, look, we found a driver. He's excellent. He's excellent 98% of the time. He's awake. 2% of the time, sometimes he dozes off. Would you get into that car?
No.
And yet you're getting into your life with the mind more than 2%. Be very, very careful. How many of us... Well, let me put it this way, not to pull up the latecomers. How would you define time management? What is time management?
Making choices.
Making choices. Organization, prioritization, planning. Here's the thing about time management is, in time management, you're not really managing time, because time is a fixed commodity for everybody. So it's 24 hours for South Africa, it's 24 hours for Japan, 24 hours for Brazil. It's fixed. So actually what we're doing is, we're managing our work, our activities that we need to do within the time allocated. How many of you do a things to do list for the day? Okay. Suppose you have 10 things to do for the day. On average, how many of those 10 things do you get completed? One? Three? What happened? 5? Okay.
I can't sleep if I didn't get through the list at least more than 7.
So you stretch the day. Okay. So, think about it. What's missing? You've got a plan for the day. You have your phone, you have perhaps an assistant, you have technology, you have all these different aids. You might go to business school, you learn about different prioritization models. All of that does not help. Why? The problem is when you're making that plan, you've got a plan. And you might say, you know what, Sudhakar, there was some exigency, some emergency, I couldn't get through my list. Every day, you're getting 10% of what you've planned done, or 50% of what you planned done. What is missing? And here's the thing. Time management actually equals work management. Work management boils down to self-management. Unless your intellect is able to manage your mind, to start a thing when it ought to be started, to end when it ought to be finished, you're not going to get your plan done. But what happens is, oh, we're enjoying the lecture, let's continue a little bit more, and then you miss the next activity, the agenda goes on 2 hours later than expected. Why? Not being able to start or finish the activity you've decided on time. It's not the time for the call, not now. It's not the time to have this conversation, not now. For that, the intellect needs to be so clear, so strong. So all management boils down to self-management. And we've used this term before, definitely as talent. Self-management is? What is self-management? What are you managing? Who's managing the mind? Your intellect managing your mind is self-management. Today you have the jargon for it. This is self-management. And without this, we cannot expect ourselves or those that we have influence over, our children, to be managed. Self-management. This is different. A strong intellect is different from intelligence. Everyone in this room is highly intelligent. But intelligence does not mean you're able to manage your emotions, that you're able to manage your mind, that you're able to manage grief. I know a cardiologist in London, he's one of the top 3. He's telling all of his patients, cardiologist, heart doctor, he's saying, reduce your smoking, alcohol. He's telling them, reduce your stress. This cardiologist, he's a chain smoker. Between patients, he's having a puff. And then he opens the window, airs it, next. Does he know what the smoking is doing to his heart? Of course he does. But he does not have a strong enough intellect to manage his desire for smoking. I have the information, but not able to implement it. So it is the mind that causes the unbalancing. And I'm going to briefly show you 3 ways in how the mind unbalances us and how we can use the intellect to get it back. The 3 ways are, the first it causes stress. How does it cause stress? It keeps on generating desire after desire after desire. Desire is not the problem. It's the management of desire that's the problem. Second, it worries and it's anxious. This is the mind. Nature of all minds. It's so sad. When I'm talking to high schoolers, even primary school, ask, guys, what's troubling you? What's on your mind? Anxiety. How long does it take you to fall off to sleep? Kids, 2 hours, 3 hours. We don't realize the pandemic that is going on around the world. The last one is relationships. So we're going to talk about stress, work, relationships. I thought just to give you an overview, because this subject is so vast, just to give you an overview of what you could probably take back with you, try and implement, and hopefully pass on. First thing, when do we get upset?
When something doesn't go according to how we think it should go.
Excellent. When we don't get what we want, when we don't get what we desire, we're unhappy. When are we happy? When we get what we desire. So if you have a desire that is not fulfilled, suppose you want to reach here on time, but you're in traffic. You're like, oh, come on. But if there's no meeting, like you might put the radio on, you might be enjoying yourself, but because you have a desire to reach on time and that desire is obstructed, your blood pressure goes up. This is one desire. Now, how many desires do you have? Desire for the children to behave, desire for the partner to be caring, empathetic. We have a desire for the colleagues to be polite. We have so many desires that are unfulfilled, causing chatter, causing noise. Suppose somebody had the power to grant you what you desire. Would you be happy? Temporarily, yes. Suppose you are working towards a promotion, you get the promotion, you enjoy it for how long? The mind goes, thank you, next. It just goes, next. And this is the problem with the mind. It's never satisfied with anything, it wants the next thing. So if we understand the nature of the mind, we will understand there is no point getting stressed and losing our happiness thinking it's going to be in that future achievement of that desire, because when we get there, we'll understand it's not here either. Doesn't mean you don't work for it, but don't expect fulfillment, lasting happiness from it. Means don't sacrifice your present happiness for something in the future that's not going to make you happy anyway. How do you be happy with what you have now is all about desire management. In fact, each and every one of us can leave this room rich. Today. Huh? Here's the formula. It's not about what you have. You could be a millionaire and feel poor. You don't have enough. You could be a billionaire and be all the other billionaires. They've gone out of this world on a space rocket. I am still on Earth. I haven't even booked my real estate on Mars. You feel poor. It's not about what you have. It's about how you feel about what you have. And if you can change the relationship to what you have, you can leave rich. Here it is on the screen. A rich person is one whose wealth is more than what they desire. Means you have more than what you desire. Your wealth is more than your desires. When do you become poor? When your desires overtake your wealth, that's when you feel, I don't have enough, I'm insufficient, I'm inadequate. Change to the rich mentality, reduce your desires to below your wealth, you feel abundance. Now, am I advocating complacency, lack of ambition? No. Do not combine contentment and ambition. Why not be content right throughout the journey and keep working? What a place to work from. Instead of being malcontent, discontent, all the time thinking it's going to work out somewhere in the future. That is an illusion. It doesn't happen. Ask the people who've got there. It's not there. So we've got to figure out, how do we be happy now? Bring the desires under the wealth. If the wealth increases, increase the desires, no problem. Change the car, change the home if you need. But never let it overtake. So the way to reduce stress is try and minimize the desires you don't need. Cut. Walk into your wardrobe today. Find out the clothes you don't need, you haven't used for 1 year. What is it doing there taking up space? Out. Declutter. You decide what's essential, what's non-essential. Like what Jabulila mentioned earlier in the session. What activities are we taking up as a team? Are they really impactful? Because if they're not impactful, we're keeping that window in our mind open and allowing it to take up bandwidth. You know when your phone slows down? You start closing all the apps. Why is our mind slowing? Why are we not fresh? Too many apps open. Close off the desires you don't need. Desire for holiday? Perhaps not this year. Close it. Desire for a new car? Maybe in 2 years' time. Close it. Don't think about it now. But now it's all happening one time. Car, holiday. Oh, I'm not... Shh. Minimize, standardize. Bring the desires under your wealth. You will see a difference in your stress. The other way the mind causes unbalancing is it constantly goes to the past and it goes to the future. It doesn't like to be in the present. In fact, if any of you here have been with me 50% of the time, thank you very much. But you've already gone to, my partner needs to hear this. Thinking about the partner instead of being here. My daughter needs to learn how to concentrate. Be here. One person is thinking about the vegan restaurant. It's like, come back. Be here. But this is the nature of the mind. It worries and it's anxious. And this is what's taking up our energy and our application in the office. It's not the work. If you think about it, we're in an air-conditioned room. Why should we be exhausted at the end of the day? You find athletes, they're training for 6 to 8 hours physically. In the evening, they go out clubbing. Why are we exhausted when we go home? It's not the work. It's the worry and the anxiety. There's another thing about being in the present. You don't have to get anti-aging creams. Keep the mind in the present. You will look younger. This is a secret formula. My teacher is 97. You see his skin? Fantastic. People ask him, what's his secret? In fact, he was featured in the Washington Post, and his American student saw the front page, and the daughter showed it. And she said, Dad, your teacher is on the front page. Can you ask him a question for me? And the father was so happy. I've been waiting all this time for my daughter to ask me about this philosophy. Sure, darling, I will ask you any question. I will ask my teacher any question you have. Can you ask him what moisturizer he uses? No worries of the past, no anxieties for the future. The 2 tips for this is, schedule your present. Because the mind, if it doesn't have an activity to do, will go into its default setting. It'll start wandering. So schedule your day. Schedule your relaxation also. Schedule your social media. Schedule your family time. Here's the thing. Family does not need quantity of time. It needs quality of time. when you're doing something, do it 100%. So if I'm sitting down with my family, let me be there 100% because that's what I've decided to do. Now what happens? When we go home, we're taking work with us. And when we're at work, we're thinking about the family. Whatever you decide and schedule to do, be there 100%. Now you got people, they go for yoga class to declutter, and during the yoga class, texting. In the pose, one hand is texting. Be 100%. The tool of distraction, and I might even go so far as to say destruction, is the mobile phone. It stops us from being in the past. It stops us from being in the present by making us go into the past and the future. So practical tip to help the intellect is leave the phone at home. Like if you come into a meeting, make it a rule. Everybody, phones in the bag. When you go home, phones in the basket. No phones at the dining table. When we go to sleep, keep the phone outside the bedroom. I know sometimes we use it as an alarm, but just as you fall off to sleep, no, one message. Oh, what's the score? Wonder what happened in this league. It is killing your sleep. It's killing your present availability. So the phone is a useful tool, but now it's using us versus us using it. You know, I actually keep my phone on Do Not Disturb constantly. If somebody really wants to reach me, they have to call 2-3 times, and then it bypasses Do Not Disturb. Then I know it's an emergency. But otherwise, it's a tool for my convenience. When I need to call, that's when I access it. Now you're interrupting thought flow. You're interrupting application to take that call. And you've got to restart the process again. So worries and anxieties is the mind. Intellect's got to keep the mind in the present. And the last one is relationships. And with relationships, the mind chooses to see the people that we claim to love. How does the mind see them? It's not love, it's actually attachment. How does the mind see relationships? And it's so ironic because the people closest to us, we get most attached to and we ruin the relationship. You would think that in a relationship you need to have feelings and you need to have the mind involved. Yes, but without the intellect, it will destroy the relationship. The number one reason for divorce is not infidelity. It is attachment. The reason for parents and children fighting so much is attachment. And what that attachment is, it is the mind seeing the other person as you would like them to be. I love my partner. I love you. But there's an asterisk. Terms and conditions apply. I love you as long as da 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 da. I love you as long as da 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 da. I love you as long as if you can pick and choose which qualities to put in the person, which qualities you don't like. That person is the package. How should you relate to another person? As they are. As their nature is, relate to them as they are. But our mind comes in and says, no, I like this. I want my daughter to be like that. I want my son to be like this. I want my partner to be like that. But how will the person behave? According to their nature. If we want to relate, we've got to connect. Instead of trying to correct the other person, let us try and connect, and perhaps there may be some scope for influence. But if you're not accepting their nature, you will not have a positive relationship. Even with our team members, we've got to, with our intellect, figure out how much mind, how much intellect is this person? How much mind, how much intellect? It could be at different times when there's some stress in their life, it's more mind than intellect. We've got to use our intellect to see where they are and connect. Now, what is your point? I speak English. That person speaks French. I speak English. I will talk to them in English. Okay, so no communication. If you know French, talk to that person in French. Communication. You've got to change the language to something they understand. No point holding on to only what you know. Then there's no communication. If it's an emotional person, you've got to speak the language of emotion. Intellectual person, you can give logic and reason. Now, we are trying to reason with an emotional person, and you're being emotional with a reasonable person. No communication. First child, you had a particular strategy, and what do? Second child, copy-paste. Third child, copy-paste. Each child, you've got to relate to individually. Each team member, you've got to relate to individually. What worked on one team member may not work on another team member. You've got to use the intellect to figure out what are they about, what strategy or what way forward do I need. The overlying theme of today's session is develop the intellect. Take time to do this because it's not in any school or university. What does it mean to develop the intellect? The intellect gets developed by questioning everything. Why am I here? What do I want from life? Do I need marriage? We're already thinking about who to marry. We're not asking the question, what is the purpose of marriage? Do I need children? What is the purpose of children? How many? 1, 2, half a dozen? Question.
You told me that 10 years ago, sorry.
My mother says that. She said, I wish I had an intellect. I said, I'm glad you didn't. I ended up here. Question. So how do we go about it? And the suggestion is, use the first part of the morning, because that's the only time of the day that really belongs to you. Before the calls, the SMSs, the children wake up, the early morning. And half an hour, keep that me time to develop your inner personality. But what do you do with that half an hour? We're not all philosophers where we wake up in the morning and be like, what is life? To be or not to be? So we need some content to provoke us. And what I would say is unique about what we've been learning, Avanya and myself, is our teacher has spent a lifetime, 65 years, bringing out this wisdom that's been in languages that are not accessible to us today, but he's made it available in contemporary thought and language, but given it a structure. Like how you have first year engineering, second year engineering, third year engineering. There's a course. Now there's a course finally for self-development. So you can improve your thinking. So as far as the literature goes, this is what I'd recommend. So The Fall of the Human Intellect is the first book. And this we're teaching at schools and universities because it's the construct, the mechanism of thinking. So valuable for learning, so valuable for decision making. The second book, Governing Business and Relationships, is what quite a few companies use as an onboarding because it's got values, ethics at the workplace. It's got about leadership, stress management, and each chapter is like a capsule. So very practical. How do we improve work and home? And the third book, and I haven't brought it here because ideally you should go through these two books first, but that third book took 25 years to write. That is when the intellect is developed and is starting to ask the bigger questions in life like, what is the purpose of life? What am I here for? That's what that book is about. There are actually 12 books, but I would suggest this order. And is there anything else we can share? I think we have
The author of that last book.
the author of the book. It's the same author. His name is A, his initial, Parthasarathy. And Jabulila is kindly organized. You can take the books with you. So for those of you who are interested, the books are there for you. Just pick up a book as you go. And And we have a retreat. We have a retreat in India that we have every year. So that's at our academy. So
Not going to the retreats.
yeah.
Come on.
So
Come on, Jabali.
Jabulila has kindly allowed us to put the screen on. And so you can see it's a stunning campus, and we have about 60 people from around the world who come for this on an annual basis. You can come and visit. So suppose you're looking for a holiday destination with some learning, I'd recommend this. Just to go inside, to work on yourself, and get some momentum with early nights, early mornings, yoga, vegan food, vegetarian. There's a youth camp as well, but yeah, maybe not together. And the last one is, here are my details. So if you need to know how to customize the learning, you're welcome to reach out personally, but we're going to see how we can work together to complement the work that you're doing for the team. Okay, and on this website here, there's an introductory course that's available and complimentary. So I want to finish with this. You might think, I've given you one more thing to do. Study, read books, develop the intellect. There's a difference. This one activity takes care of all other activities. It will improve your life in areas you can't conceive. We mentioned in the beginning, energy, purpose, clarity, relationships. Relationships is probably the biggest. But you might say, I've got no time as it is. I'm already battling. Prioritize this. I'm going to leave you with a story. It's about two woodcutters. Okay? They both started their careers on the same day. They went in with their axes and they started chopping the trees down. And at the end of the day, they both cut 10 trees. The second day, Alex cut 11 trees. The other woodcutter, Bob, he still cut 10. And what started gradually happening is that Alex's number of trees that he was cutting started to increase. 11, 11 and a half, don't know if half is possible, 12, 13, and Bob started to decrease, 9, 8, and Bob was frustrated. What is going on? Why is his output increasing? Mine is decreasing. So Bob started working longer, more hours, stretching the day. And still he was 9, 8, 9. And Alex is going 11, 12, 13. Finally, Bob is so frustrated. He goes up to Alex. Tell me your secret, man. What are you doing? I am working longer hours and you are producing much more than me. What is your secret? To which Alex replied, you really want to know? He says, yes, please tell me your secret. It's very simple. First thing I do when I wake up, I sharpen my axe. To which Bob replied, I got no time to sharpen my axe. I'm too busy cutting trees. Same thing with life. I'm too busy living life to spend some time figuring out life. Whether you take up this literature, invest that time for yourself. I've just given you a few avenues to go about it. And look forward to continuing this journey together. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Siddhartha. Thank you, Anya. I know we don't have 15 minutes as I promised for questions, but I'll open it up to 2 questions.
Yeah.
2 questions.
Yes.
Can you maybe talk us through some of the challenges you faced when you started this intellect journey? What was the disconnect you felt initially?
So the question is, if I could mention some of the challenges I faced when I started this journey. So the two challenges I faced was, the first is, when I started questioning things about life, it wasn't that what I had learned was slightly different. It was in fact the opposite. So my concept of love and relationship, and then having examined it, it was the opposite. So I would think love was like holding onto the person, never letting them go, together, holding hands everywhere. I realized that's not love, that's the opposite. That is making yourself dependent on them and them depending on you, suffocation. Education. I thought education was just reading books after books after books. But it is not the quantum of information that you receive. Then your ChatGPT, your Google. It's the application of it. So keeping more time to digest, it's like putting so much of food in. There's no point unless it's digested. So like this, so many concepts was the opposite. So that was quite a change for me. Yeah. So I went through a 3-year course in this subject. And the second one is, the challenge I faced was, it was as if you're on an island. When you start thinking, people around you, you start seeing. And you just feel alone because nobody else is thinking. Nobody else is questioning. And they think you're being difficult or you're being rude, but actually you're questioning to understand. But it's things that people have accepted for generations. Yeah. So these were some of the challenges. But once that conviction sets in and you start seeing the difference in your life, then it works itself out. Yeah. So often people tell me I was a very happy person until I met you. But because once you start thinking, you start seeing all the areas you have to improve on. Yeah. So the awareness comes in, then the improvement. So the awareness part is the difficult part. Thank you for your question. Yes?
You mentioned to use the first part of the morning to develop your intellect. Can you just give us some trigger thoughts in terms of how do you actually do that? So where do I take my mind to in the morning?
So what I would do is try it with these 2 books, okay? But don't read it like a novel. Read it as in just a page, okay? And the other aspect is, we haven't covered it in this session, is e-learning. So imagine you take a lecture like this, so much of content. You take a book like that, just 1 or 2 pages. Spend 15 minutes reading the page or listening to a lecture. And then spend the other 15 minutes, or depending how much time you have available, to reflect on it, to make it your own. So you're not, again, consuming content. You're using the content to provoke you to think, question, and you're thinking about it for a while. Close the book, start your day.
Thank you.
So that will give you the structure, like you said. Otherwise, what do I think about? Thank you, everybody. I wish I could spend more time with you. We're off to Durban.